We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Izuku, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back with you in another new part of What If Izuku Can Summon Heroic Spirits. This is part 31, and back with you in another new part, guys. And just a bit of a heads up, this is going to be a pretty quick one after all, because I kind of need it to be for a bit. So it was originally going to be a lot longer, but I had to cut it for a bit. So I'm going to speed through a few things for this part. Sorry, everyone, by the time I'm recording this, I'm a bit in a rush, to be honest. So yeah, at any rate, with all that said, let's go ahead and have a recap. In the last part, everybody came back from that of their internships. And also everybody now knowing about that of, well, the hero killer being the former vigilante of Narahara, Stendhal, which now his life is being looked under a microscope. Not to mention the fact that Izuku telling All Might and his newest successor, Mirio Togata, about that of the Nomus and how they were created from using corpses, especially about bringing up the fact about one of the Nomus being a former childhood acquaintance from Izuku's past, being Tsubasa. Bringing up the fact that maybe, just maybe, the reason why he was targeted was somebody close to him. Not to mention, Izuku showing a lot more better control over becoming a pseudo-servant, as he was able to basically pass that of the, obstacle course race during when he, fused with that of Odysseus. However, not only that, a little bit of problem added the fact that Bakugo wanted answers. He wanted to know why somebody like him, who was always destined to be a hero, couldn't have noticed that Tsubasa was missing. And also wondered why didn't Izuku notice himself, since he had a powerful quirk, since he had a lot more power, shifting his blame from himself onto Izuku, which makes it easier on him, with Izuku no longer caring, or rather, no longer being an outlet for Bakugo's grief, confusion, and anger, as he's just going to be himself. So with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? As the days now go by, almost a month, to be honest, mainly due to that of Izuku, classes basically going quickly, with even that of midterms basically finishing up too. And let's just say a lot of members of Class 1A really need to basically pick up the pace. Thankfully enough, Izuku, having that of one of the smartest heroic spirits as his caster class servant, as a mentor and a tutor, basically helps a lot. So Sheba is perfect for Izuku studying. However, speaking of that of the Queen of Sheba, of course, Sheba basically is working with that of Lady Nagant, alongside that of Bibi and also Kotaro, about finding that of secret locations that the HPSC is hiding from that of the public and that of the heroes, of course. First being that of major training facilities, of course. Sure, she's been in and out of prison for at least a good 10 years or so, but her memory still basically stays strong about the hatred she has for the Hero Public Safety Commission. With BB using that of her as her connection as a moon cancer servant to basically surf the internet pretty damn easily, being a living computer virus and all, she thoroughly makes sure that each location and is basically still there. Basically, 5 out of 10 of the locations that Lady Nagant still remembers are still active, while some are basically just abandoned buildings and not even useful anymore. But even so, she's able to basically bypass and access everything that HPSC haven't access after all. Even that of candidates for future hero public safety heroes like that of Hawks and Nagant in the future, just in case. Wanting to make sure that these kids aren't basically poached by that of the HPSC. BB basically did a little bit of a favor on the side without even being asked. She basically changed some of the birth records of a few of the candidates, like such as that of their quirks, erased certain footage of them using their quirks, and stuff like that. At first glance, the Public Safety Commission will believe that they made a mistake, but given on how thorough her editing is, to the point that it doesn't even look like none of the documents have been edited, they'll realize that none of these kids are basically appropriate for their little hero projects after all, which is exactly what they need. Next up is gaining that of access to a lot of the agents. This is on the first time that Lady Nagant is not going to be useful because, again, she's been in prison for 10 years. But once more, BB basically steps in and realizes there are a lot of heroes under that of the HPSC's payroll. However, a large majority of them aren't even realized that they are basically agents for them, being forced to do their dirty work. Some of them just believe that they're just doing regular hero work for the government. Nothing more, nothing less. But the ones willing to basically do the dirty work and basically make the HPSC seem like the perfect little bastions of virtue for the control and regulation of hero society, while also being corrupt themselves and even willing to destroy and manipulate that of innocent families and people to do so, well, let's just say they have a rude awakening once they bring everything down on that corrupt government bureau. While this is also going down, Izuku is trying to figure out how to use that of minor noble phantasm through that of tracing magic craft that he learned from Lady Archer. Again, he starts out small, mainly using certain weapons he has a strong familiarity tied to, mainly that of the Passion and the Fury, gaining that of the noble phantasms of the 2 iconic Celtic swords, but he just don't know how to fully use them. He's able to use a bit of the magic craft, that's the magic within the swords, that increases his speed and acts as a bit of a curse, but he can't use the full aspect of the magic within that of the 2 blades without the noble phantasm, which is causing him to be a little bit stumped. Until something that basically made Izuku basically want to bang his head on the wall for eternity. And then mainly from Sky Hatch that he learned it from. That he's been basically calling the sword's name by that of their English spelling name, even though he's saying it in Japanese. When using that of tracing magic craft on the blades with projection, he needs to call their original names, which she ends up giving him because she was actually kind of hoping he would figure it out on his own. And given that he's been fumbling for almost a month now, yeah. So now Izuku decides to use tracing magic craft with projection onto that of his 2 iconic swords before saying their names, Migotach and Bigotach. Before then, the swords that were always just that of, regular size, almost like that of, with a red blade, Migotach being that of the size of a, regular broadsword, while Migotach is somewhat of that of a short sword. But on the beach surface, he begins to feel that of the massive burst of mana and magic coming from the blades that they even begin to change, looking completely and utterly different but before, no longer having that of the wrappings around them, with that of Migotach, the red blade becoming massive like that of a long sword, and Bigotach, the yellow blade, becoming that of a regular broadsword. However, what changes that of Izuku is he can't just feel the basic magic craft within them, but now he can feel the full magic aspect of them. Almost like Izuku has become a full-on demigod, as that was the true aspect of the noble phantasm within the swords, to feel the true power of a demigod. What it's like to basically wield the same power as Diomut Urune, the first spear, or I should say blade, of Fiana. But this will be Izuku's ultimate trump card. However, putting too much, of his magic circuits and prana points through that of tracing magic craft to basically mimic that of the noble phantasm, the blades took a lot out of him. Even not as much as basically, being a pseudo servant, but still deciding to use that of tracing magic craft on each one of his weapons by bringing out that of their true name and their true function, by figuring them out one by one. With this, he may have that of developed a secondary special move outside of needing his, servants to become a pseudo-servant, when he can't rely on his servants too much after all. As of course, even though he's been training himself, working hard, physically, mentally, and everything, to live up to that of his servants' expectations of him, now he has other expectations to live up to. Those of the clock tower, those of the church, and those of the Mage Association. Because even though now they're not willing to basically kill him for being that of an improbability or a paradox, he still needs to make sure that he isn't a threat to that of humanity, which is easier said than done, given the human heart and its will to survive no matter what. With another month coming to an end, and now it's finally reached that of the full summertime month, which means Izuku switching to that of summer uniforms alongside everybody else in Class 1A. However, it also leads to that of Aizawa basically crushing everybody's dreams and everything else. Bringing up that of final exams are coming up by the end of the month. And it wouldn't just be that of the typical written portion, but they'll also be dealing with that of the most important, being the practical exam of finals, which they all need to be prepared for. And unfortunately for everybody in the class, nobody knows what the practical portion of the exam is going to be. But given midterms, with certain people in the class, mainly that of, Kaminari and Mina, basically worried like hell, the fact that they're basically the lowest in the class when it comes to academics. But everyone else are worried, but not too worried, as long as they basically pace themselves and, not rush things. However, they did bring up the fact about that of several asking Momo for help, given that she is the top in the class after all. But also bring up the fact that, she's excited to help out for the written portion of the exams by helping them study, but thinks she's not going to be that useful for the practical exam, whatever it is, given what happened during the sports festival, of course. With then, Izuku actually quite impressed in seeing how everybody's so excited. However, it also led to that of somebody spoking up, as it being Himiko, basically telling everybody if they would like, they can basically study at that of their place, given that it's so spacious after all. But then, Izuku, a little bit caught off guard by Himiko basically speaking on that of their behalf, with Momo remembering that of, Izuku's new place anyway, that it's not too far off, and it's still pretty close to that of Shizuoka after all. And to be honest, she would love to basically see the traditional Japanese home again, with even Mina and Kaminari alongside Sero and Jiro are actually willing to tag along too if Momo's okay with it, instead of just going to her place. With a few of them also curious, given that a certain select few in that of the class have been to Izuku's place, of course. with Izuku mentally asking that of Himiko, why did she do that? With her saying, wanting to get to know that her destined ones, friends, and co-workers in the future after all. Which made Izuku feel like his soul was about to leave his body from that answer alone after all. Speaking of other thoughts, gaining information on wondering what they'll be doing for the practical exam. Of course, Izuku planned on basically using that of his heroic spirits and that of their spirit form to basically gather information, of course. Unfortunately, that was completely and utterly unnecessary given that, of course, Monoma, like always in canon, basically tried to start shit because of Class 1A getting a lot of attention, mainly because of the fact that Izuku helped take down that of the hero killer by the news standards, the fact that the so-called star students of Class 1A, being Bakugo, Shoto, and Ida, basically were also part of Hosu as well, and another jab basically thinking that Class 1A is going to basically cause a lot of problems for everybody at UA, as they're the main focus on multiple attacks. Before then, Kendo basically stepped in before a certain, assassin class servant was about to basically stab the blonde-haired douche. Yes, Kotaro was literally about to basically stab Monoma multiple times. So yeah, moving on. Kendo basically dragging Monoma away, she basically gave out the information about what they'll probably have to deal with for that of this, final exams, that mainly being robots from the entrance exam. With hearing that, everybody at Izuku's table couldn't help but get excited for that, with Izuku mentally thinking, are you sure? He basically said that out loud, but then Izuku realized that he said it out loud as he got a little bit embarrassed, saying, not saying that I don't think that you're right, Kendo, it's just that given everything that has happened at UA, I kind of figured, saying, it's only what I've only heard from our senpais from the second years and third years. So it's only that I can go off from that of past information. That's all I can say. Pass it on to your class if you feel like it. With Izuku, alongside everybody else, a little bit excited, except that of Shoto saying, you got something to say, Midoriya? With Izuku thinking, I'm just thinking, maybe, I think the faculty may try and do something different this year. That's all. Within, everybody looking at the green net, as part of it, with Izuku saying, I'm just being a little paranoid, that's all. Maybe they won't change anything, and it'll still be the same as it always been. That's all I'm saying. Before then, seeing that his lunch is nearly done, saying, sorry everybody, I gotta go. As Izuku walked off, leaving Shoto and Ida a little bit confused alongside that of Ochako and Tsuyu alongside that of Toru too. As he puts away that of his lunch, before then goes out of the hallway, out of the cafeteria, and currently in the hallway, leaning on that of the window before then saying, Kotaro. As Kotaro getting out of spirit form, basically going to one knee, saying, what do you need, Izuku? Saying, go to that of the faculty room, see if you can find anything. With that, hearing this, saying, understood. As Kotaro goes back into spirit form, before then, that's when Sheba, alongside that of Sigurd, and even that of Himiko, will basically appear in front of Izuku, with Himiko saying, Izuku, aren't you a little worried? You don't trust that of your classmate from the other class? Saying, no, like I said, I do trust her. If anything, I think she might be right. But right about that of last year's. Within, Sigurd saying, as he adjusts his glasses going, you figured that they may change some things, given everything that has happened with the changing times. With Izuku looking outside, away from that of his servant, saying, as much as people want to think that things aren't as different or the hero society hasn't changed, given how much I have basically been pushed into the darkness of hero society, and yet I am keeping it a secret from everybody. Even my mom thinks that dealing with the HPSC is all over, and yet she doesn't even know. But then thinking it's frustrating, knowing that there's a storm brewing. We deal with the League of Villains twice, and only that of a short few months. What are the chances that we basically encounter them a third time? With that, Scott Hatch saying, nothing wrong with preparing for the worst, which is most exactly what your teachers are going to prepare you all for. With that, as his combat teacher looks at him, with Izuku looking back at her, and she can't help but blush a bit while giving off a smile. But then looking back at that of the outside of UA, thinking, people here at UA, mainly the students, from Jet Ed, support, business, and possibly even from your sister class, but you have seen it. You felt it and you faced against it multiple times. This world is changing. Maybe, and it's not for the better. With that, Izuku realizing, yeah, I'm aware. With Himiko being right next to that of Izuku, being right close to him, as causing him to blush a bit, but her giving off that of a loving and caring smile saying, but we're always here for you, no matter what, my darling. With that, Izuku couldn't help but blush, but then say, thanks, all of you. With that, back to class, as classes finally come to an end, with that, of course, Kaminari and Nina excited the fact that they got an upper hand for that of the, for the final exams, thinking that they're going to take down robots pretty easily, especially for Kaminari, after all, given his electrification quirk. But others, on the other hand, they're happy that they're going to take on robots, but they are a little bit skeptic too. But some are just more worried about the fact that they need to focus more on that of the written portion of the exam. Before Bakugo blew up, annoyed at everybody else, saying that it doesn't matter what they'll face against for the final exam as long as they get through it. And especially looking at that of Kaminari and Mina, the fact that the two idiots not only are basically so below in that of academics, they also need to find a better ways to control their quirks, after all, which causes the two to freak out from Bakugo's yelling. However, as soon as he grabs his things and about to head out of the class, he soon looks at that of Izuku, saying, Deku, I've seen how much you improved since that of our first battle trial. Even with that damn sneak attack bullshit that you pulled during that of the sports festival, I won't fall for it next time. Because after midterms, after the finals, everything will change. We'll be in new placement, new rankings and all. So don't you dare hold anything back, you got it? Because I'm coming for the top as always. As he soon also looks at Shoto saying, same thing goes for you, Icy Hot. And even looking at Ida saying, and you too, Glasses. With Bakugo soon basically bursting out of the classroom before slamming the door. With everybody else, a little bit on edge about that. However, they were being heard on by that, of course, their homeroom teacher, Aizawa, realizing, Bakugo, you've definitely gotten worse. Within thinking, I was hoping at Hosu, you would at least be a little bit humbled. It seemed like it worked at first, but within remembering that of a few weeks back, during that of last month, his confrontation with that of Izuku, saying, what did your confrontation with Midoriya do to basically revert you back to now? As the sleep-deprived homeroom teacher heads out, wondering what they'll be expecting. However, little did the homeroom teacher know, he's currently being watched from that of the shadows, or rather, from the ether itself, due to Kotaro keeping an eye, wondering what they'll have to expect for that of the final exams. Currently, that at the faculty room, with all of the Pro Hero UA staff basically deciding what they'll be doing for that of the final exam, as they decided that the students will be facing against that of the UA faculty themselves, starting with that of Class 1A, then the next day with that of Class 1B. However, some broad the fact since Class 1A will go first, they'll probably give that of Class 1B some heads up or some pointers. But then they brought the fact that given that Class 1A and Class 1B aren't that really close, doubtful they will, and well, the chances that they'll actually listen, especially a certain blonde from Class 1B. When Vlad King hearing about this, thinking about his problematic student in Class 1B being Monoma. However, soon Aizawa brought the fact about about each class, especially in his own homeroom class, on a faculty member that they'll be facing against. With everybody going over the packets and realize who they'll be going against, some are a little intrigued. Some don't really have a problem with it. While some, on the other hand, do. Especially All Might saying, "You really want these two to go against me?" With then Aizawa saying, "You got a problem with it?" Saying, "Well, personally, no, but what if they don't work together?" Well, the chances saying, "And if they don't work together, then they fail. Simple as that. However, I'm already aware of the one who's going to be making sure that they don't work together. Fit basically suffers even more than the both of them together. As the principal says, we're reaching that of a new age right now. More threats are coming to that of this to our students and even to the public as well. We need to make sure that they're always ready, prepared for anything to come. That's exactly why we're changing this year." With the entire faculty actually agreeing with Aizawa for once on something. Through the next few weeks, they actually began to, began studying, working together, some going to that of Izuku's place, which, again, a large majority of shocked that Izuku's new house is basically large as hell, and especially given that it's really close to that of Dagobah Beach, of all things, which they all thought was a literal freaking dump, to be honest. But thankfully enough, it's not anymore. Unfortunately, Inko wasn't around, or fortunately, depending who you ask, actually, being at multiple shareholders meetings with that of Sheba. Alongside that, surprisingly, Medusa keeping an eye on her this time to protect that of the Midoriya matriarch. While the ones who are basically sticking around with that of Izuku keep an eye and actually also help out that of his classmates, from that of Sigurd, Odysseus, and Himiko as well. With Himiko and, Sigurd basically acting as, giving the kids foods and snacks to basically eat while basically studying after all. As for Odysseus, he helps out with that of certain studying by basically dumbing down and helping things out for both Mina and Kaminari, of course. As the study session goes quite well, surprisingly. Even when they take a break, that's when a unique conversation basically comes up between that of Izuku and Momo. As the two take a break in that of the koi pond garden, seeing everything, with Izuku quite impressed and understands on how Momo's the top of the class after all when it comes to academics. She's truly smart and beyond especially somebody like him, who has to study constantly to keep an eye straight after all. With Momo a little bit embarrassed the fact on being called a genius, but she also studies and works hard too, especially given her quirks that she must basically understand everything about that of the world, especially given her family lineage too. With Izuku kind of shocked by this, as she never really talked much about that of her family, only occasionally. With then, Momo kind of shocked about this, especially given that Izuku and Momo don't really talk that much close to each other. With then, she basically says that the Yaoyorozu conglomerate, basically one of the richest families alongside company across that of all of Japan, even spans across that of the entire eastern side of Asia, and even some parts in America and that of the west coast of America. Because of her name, it holds a lot of prestige, a lot of control, and a lot of pressure from her parents too. With Izuku kind of shocked that she's being so honest and open towards him, as she wanted to be a hero to just help people, save lives, and protect others, no matter what. Given how useful her quirk is, she would be crazy not to use it to help others, protect people. keep others safe. It's only natural for somebody of her standing, of her ability. With then, Izuku couldn't help but admire that of Momo's determination on wanting to be a hero. However, that goal soon begins to fade a bit, saying, but after the sports festival, after I failed against Tokoyami, I don't know what I should do or what I can do. With then, Izuku quite shocked by this, as she has her head down while looking at that of the koi pond, saying, I feel like I'm lost, like I'm not that useful, like I'm not truly capable, like I have nothing, like I am nothing, and that I'm just useful as that of support. Maybe that's all I'm truly good for, being nothing but a support hero. With Izuku hearing all that, as he can't help but think about himself, how he also saw himself before meeting his new family, his heroic spirits. When Izuku's about to say something, that's when somebody's saying, bullshit, girl. Within, hearing this as being from Nobu, who kind of basically glares at that of Momo. Within, she's saying, as Izuku saying, Nobu. Within, she grabbing that of Momo by that of her the collar of her shirt. Within, raising her up, as even though Nobu is shorter than that of than Momo, she's still a heroic spirit and basically strong as hell, bringing her to that of, eye level between the two, with Izuku saying, Nobu, hey, stop! As he was soon about to bring out his command spells to basically stop her, saying, don't you dare use a command spell on me, Izuku, or I will be angry with you. Within, Izuku knows what she means, but anger, as then deciding to hold off, but still get it ready just in case, saying, look here, girl. You pathetic, you weak, you useless, don't make me laugh. Your capabilities, your skills, your quick wit, it reminds me a lot of Izuku. Reminds me a lot of the boy who I see as that of a little brother. And you think that you're basically not even capable, not able to be a true hero, nothing but basically a supporter on the sidelines? Don't make somebody of your capabilities would be wasted on basically helping others shine more than yourself. I've seen your talents, girl. I've seen your capabilities. You have all of that in spades, and yet you want to waste it? You want to basically put it all aside? All because of your fear? All because you lost one goddamn match against a crowd of imbeciles? Of fools? Newsflash, girl. The people don't matter. Within, hearing that saying, it's what you matter. It's what you want. What you decide for yourself. You can't let one setback hold you back. You got that? Because I, Oda Nobunaga, the Demon King of the Six Heavens, refuse to allow somebody with this much talent as you drown in such self-loathing. So get a grip. As then, dropping her right then and there, before then basically huffing and walking away. Within, Izuku saying, Nobu! Before then, as Momo basically completely and utterly shocked by that abrasion, and especially how she was treated like that, as this is the very first time somebody's actually treated her like that, but done it in a way that seems encouraging, helpful, motivating even. But then Izuku going to Momo saying, Momo, are you okay? I'm so sorry about her. She could be a real handful and really much of a pain. I really hope that. Within, soon saying, she's right, though. Within, Izuku saying, huh? She's absolutely right. I am such a fool for letting my hang-ups, letting one defeat define me after all. I think it's because I spent my whole life people expecting the best from me, expecting everything for me to be perfect, ideal, and ready. That when the very first time I lost, First time I overthink things, I was basically drowning in my own self-loathing, and she was right about that. Now, I think I need to finally think things through, see things from a different angle, and finally no longer let other people's ideas on what they see in me affect me, and just be me and use my talents however I see fit. Before then, she looks at Izuku saying, Midoriya, I wish to thank you. Whoever that girl truly is, because there's no way a girl like that for somebody to be a sentient quirk can definitely be that capable, could basically act like that. Because normally, when it comes to sentient quirks, they basically hold that of the true emotions of its user, how they truly feel about that of themselves or the things around them deeply, like Tokuyami's Dark Shadow, for example. But that didn't feel like something you were basically suppressing or wanting to say. It felt like something that somebody else had for me. You, on the other hand, you're more worried and scared that those words hurt me, or basically I was put into an uncomfortable situation. You even try to control her. But then Izuku realizing, Yaoyorozu, with her saying, I don't know what power you actually do have. If it's a quirk or not, or if it's something else. But those people, those quirk figures of yours that have the same name of historical figures from legends, and even from that of our own history, somebody who actually truly understands that of human logic and lore and history throughout that of the world could mimic everything accurate to that of those historical figures outside of one simple thing. A few of them are gender bend, like that Nobu you said, Oda Nobunaga. Within Izuku, a little bit worried, as she's saying, I won't pry, I won't force it. I'll wait when you're willing to tell me the truth, and everybody else in class 1A as well. Because besides, this is yours, and you've done so much for us more than anything. With that, Momo says her piece, saying, I'm going to go speak with the others, given that our break is almost over. Within, Izuku, a little shocked by this. Before then, Nobu materializing out of spirit form, saying, damn, I knew that girl was bright. She truly is one of a kind of talent. Within, Izuku a little shocked, saying, Nobu! Saying, seriously, why did I have to step in? You could have done this ahead of time. Within, Izuku saying, Nobu, Within, realizing she knows that we're not really your quirk. She also realized that we are truly historical figures accurate outside of several things that's different about our historical accuracy. Which means, within, Izuku saying, I'm aware when she said it. She knows that she doesn't really know that you're heroic spirits, but she definitely knows that you guys aren't quirks anymore. So, you're gonna tell her? Before then, Izuku saying, maybe after finals are done. For now, let's focus on studying while we can. Within saying, sure thing. Before then, soon, that's when Kotaro finally appears. Is right in front of Izuku, saying, Izuku, I got some good news for you, master. With Izuku saying, what is it? The final exams. I know what you're going to be facing against. Saying, well, tell me. Before then, Kotaro showing that of his amber eye right through that of his heavy bane, saying, as soon, Izuku having a look of shock, with Nobu having a look of pure and utter annoyance on her face. With Izuku saying, so that's what we'll really be doing. We're basically being teamed up together with that of those within our class against that of the faculty members. And I had to be paired up with him. Then Kotaro saying, are you unhappy about this, master. With Izuku shaking his head saying, no, I'm not. If anything, this is something that needs to be done ahead of time. Because there's one thing I won't allow. I won't both us allow to fail just because he either won't let go of his pride or he won't admit that he is just as weak as many of us too. After all, that's the one thing about humanity that I've realized, being humanity's true last master, and that is, we are all weak, but we will never admit it that we're weak. But then, Nobu saying, except you. For then, looking at that of his archer class servant, as she has that of a genuine smile and a look of fondness for the master that she has as a little brother figure, saying, your weakness is your strength, and you're willing to acknowledge it out all too well. Before then, patting him on the back, saying, now, you excuse me, I'm gonna go and get some sake and maybe some rice cakes as well. Knowing since Himiko's the one who's been cooking after all. With that, Nobu basically walks off. With then, Kotaro saying, I never truly understand the Demon King. Within, Izuku saying, that's just the way she is. As Izuku and Kotaro follow after her. With now, the weeks have now gone by, and now final exams begins. With the written exams each day, and now the final practical exam begins. With everybody in Class 1A right in front of the test zone. However, they're not alone, as the entire UA faculty is there too. While everybody is shocked, Izuku, on the other hand, is ready for what's to come. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I would love to read them. And like I said, this was a short one than my usual when it comes to that of this What If series. I basically wanted to lay down on everything that they're preparing for to take on the Hero Public Safety Commission, alongside the fact that, well, final exams are coming up after all. And also, after all these years, I finally begin what I've been doing for Momo this entire What If, and look forward on how I fully execute it as well. So yeah, at any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep to date my videos upload to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my other channel, my side channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. And also, remember, if you guys want me to do that of a What If Commission one-shot here on the channel, or a story on that of my side channel, please donate at least that's of $4.99 or more, so I can do that of the What If as your commission. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later, guys, and hope you all take care. Thank you so much for watching and staying to the end of the video.
But there's still so much on my love channel.
That's right, such as my other What If content and the most recent What Ifs as well.
Not to mention his playlist, where you can watch all of his other What Ifs.
Which, all said and done, this is Leon.
And Shiro.
And you're watching Leon Mookie.